Hey everyone, Houston, the Meandering Piper. Hope everybody's enjoying this nice evening. I know I sure am. I believe it only got up to 87 degrees today, so it's been real nice out. Now, I will apologize in advance for any background noise. We got a neighbor mowing since it is so nice out. Seems like every time I do a video, we either got somebody over there, or over there, or over there, or behind me here that's mowing. So, hopefully it ain't too bad, so it don't seem too loud from here, so hopefully it won't show up on the video here. But the reason we're doing this video here today is Mr. OTC Piper is having his 100 sub GAW. So, congratulations, brother, on your 100 subs. And I really enjoy your channel. And I'm really digging that pipe nook that you put together. Got the comfy chair and the nice light, and if you don't mind, one of these years I'm going to have to kind of steal that idea and set me up a little pipe nook. I kind of have something similar where I sit in my living room in my recliner whenever I have the house to myself and just chill out and relax, but, you know, having a nice secluded area to call your own, you know, is really awesome. So I might have to do something like that in the future. But before we get to the VR here, we'll do a little bit of the housekeeping. Got my Dr. Graybow Savoy, and I really dig this rustication on this bowl. I've had other folks that I watch say this is kind of the same rustication that custom built pipes did. I don't think I've ever seen a custom built in person, but they have a, you know, the rough cut rustication and stuff like that that I've seen on the internet, and I don't know if that was something Dr. Graybow copied or who did it first or what, but it's really neat. I like it. It gives a good grip. You know, I've never had any trouble gripping this pipe, and it just looks, you know, awesome. It's a really neat rustication. But in it, got a little bit of H&H Barley Flake. It's a great tobacco. And the drink pairing is, of course, a jar of sweet tea. As you can probably see there, it is ice cold. But anyway, to the VR, you had 3 things you wanted to know. There we go, now we're rolling. But I'll tell you right now, I might go on a little bit longer than I normally do because of the subject matter. Reading is also one of my favorite pastimes, so I'll try and keep it quick, but here we go. So, you wanted to know about a book that inspired us, or had an impact on us, or that was really influential. And like I said, I love to read, and there's been several books, you know, that have really had an impact on me, and that I've just loved. And there's just too many to list, but I'll try and keep this simple here. I'm going to go with one of the first books I ever got. And I was about 6 or 7 years old, and me and my brothers, my mom got this thing every month called the Monthly Book Club. It was like a little brochure that had a bunch of different books in it and had it for all different age groups. But the great thing was my mom, you know, no matter what book we picked, she'd always get it. Didn't matter the age group. If we wanted to read it, we'd get it, and she'd let us read it, provided there wasn't any inappropriate content matter. But like I said, I was about 6 or 7, and I picked out a book called On Board the Titanic. And this was a children's book, and I don't know if it's still in print or not. I actually still have the original book that I bought way back then. or my mother bought for me at my folks' house. It's on my mother's, one of her bookcases. But it was written by, and I got it written down there, Shelley Tanaka. But that was my introduction to literature. As a historical book, it has a personal story from a young man that was on board the Titanic when it sailed and went down. Jack Phillips, I forget exactly how old he was, but it tells his story. And it also has other historical information mixed in. It kind of goes back and forth between the story, then historical information about the ship, and then it goes back to this guy's story, and then it goes back to, you know, the historical information and so on and so forth until you get through the whole book. But that book right there is probably the one that got me to love reading. It sparked my interest in history. It sparked my love of reading. If it wouldn't have been for that book, I don't think I would be as fond of literature as I am now. That is, you know, the book that started it all for me. But there's got children playing. I have to say another influential writer would be Edgar Allan Poe, and I really love his works. In fact, I just replaced a 2-book set that I have with this one right here, and it is the complete works. It has all of his poems and all of his short stories and everything in it. And as you can see, it's a very thick book, but it's the complete works. The other ones I had, it was 2 separate books. I had all the poems in one book and all the short stories in another, but this one is the complete set. And it's fairly new, as you can tell. You know, there's no wear and tear on the dust cover. Like I said, I'm replacing the other 2, and I'll probably end up giving those books to a family member. But whenever me and my wife first met, we would actually take turns reading different stories and poems out of those books to one another in the evenings while we were dating. So, very special memories, you know, with those stories there. And another writer that greatly influenced the way I think and influenced the way I grew up and everything, and kind of shaped my worldview to what it is today, would be Louis L'Amour. And I'm sure everybody knows who Louis L'Amour is, but he is a great storyteller. But what I really took away from his books, or what they taught me, is they, you know, taught me what it was to be a man. You know, taught me the difference between right and wrong, and I don't know, there is a lot of important life lessons, you know, in the Louis L'Amour books that, you know, I really, I don't know, just latched onto, and I don't know, they became a part of who I am. I read them, you know, whenever I was growing up, and I still have quite a few of them today, and one of these days I would like to have the complete collection, leather bound, of every single one of Louis L'Amour's books. But the very first 2 Louis L'Amour books I ever got, I got at a yard sale, and they were old paperbacks, and they had the really cool artwork and everything on them. But I think I gave $0.25 for both of them. I don't remember how old I was. I would have been probably 12 or 13. And the first one was Guns of the Timberlands. and the second one was Kiowa Trail. But after reading those two books, I was hooked on Louis L'Amour. But they're really great books. I would encourage anybody that hasn't read Louis L'Amour to do so. And actually just recently got a new book that was gifted to me, excuse me, that I will be starting to read very soon. And it's a historical book, and I got it with me here. And that is Decision at Tom's Brook. And it says George Custer, Thomas Rosser, and The Joy of the Fight. And you can see who it's by there. But there's also some other books that I've seen advertised in the back here that I would like to get by the same publisher. One's called The Second Battle of Winchester. Then there's a book called The Maps of the Wilderness, and it's an atlas of the wilderness campaign during the Civil War. And then here's one called Seizing Destiny, The Army of the Potomac's Valley Forge. So it seems like this publisher, you know, has a lot of great books, but I haven't started on this one yet. But that's the next one that I plan on starting here very soon. Had a book get in the way of starting that one, and it was a book called 1 Second After. And I can't pronounce the guy's last name. It's William Forsterson? I don't know, but it's kind of a, I don't want to say a doomsday book, but it kind of is. It kind of takes place after an EMP goes off, and civilization is pretty much cast it back into how things were in the 1800s. I don't want to give too much away if you want to read that. I don't want any spoilers, but it's a really great book. But I know that was probably way more than you asked for, but like I said, I enjoy reading, so I figured I would share that with you there. So anyway, moving on. If I can get my tobacco to stay lit here, I kind of pack this flake in here pretty tight. The bowl size on this little pipe ain't really good for, you know, folding and stuffing flakes, but I've been trying to make do with it and trying to see how I can get it to work. But unfortunately, I think I'm going to have to select another pipe. This will probably be for ribbon rub burley versus flake burley. Second thing you want to know, our favorite pipe, favorite tobacco, and favorite drink combination. Well, I'd have to say it'd be this pipe right here, my Savinelli 310 Roma. It's the KS. It's the king size bowl. That pipe with this tobacco, Warhorse Bar, with a cup of Cane's coffee with the this brand of coffee creamer is called Delight, and it's the Irish cream flavor. It's a liquid creamer. You just put like a couple of tablespoons of that in there to where it's a kind of a light brown or a tan color, and stir it up real good, and it is delicious. That pipe, that tobacco, and that drink, I mean, the only way to describe that is like pure bliss. You know, it just enhances the smoking experience, or the coffee enhances the smoke enhances the coffee, and it is like the perfect combination that I have found so far. I mean, normally I smoke Burleys, Virginias, and drink sweet tea or, you know, a soda sometimes, but as far as like the perfect combination for me, that is one of the most awesome smoking experiences I ever had was, you know, that pipe, tobacco, and that drink combination. Got that breeze coming from behind me. It don't like, it's not very good for trying to keep this lit, or trying to light it. It keeps blowing my lighter out. So if you ever get a chance, try that combo. It's really delicious. You can usually get that Delight coffee creamer at Harp's Grocery. I don't know if they have Harp's down in Texas. I know we got them here in Oklahoma, over in Arkansas, but that's usually where I find it. I haven't ever been able to find the the Delight brand creamer at Walmart or anywhere else, but if you have down there, it's available there. And you wanted to know about our favorite place to smoke a pipe. You know, to sit back and contemplate. Well, I'd have to say right here. And sometimes I sit over there on the little picnic area, but not very often. It needs to be cleaned out. But most of the time I just like to sit right here, think, sometimes read. Most of the time I like to do my reading in the house though. But this is like my favorite spot, just to come out here, sit at the table, have my tea or whatever I'm drinking on, sit under the shade tree, listen to the birds, watch the squirrels run across the top of the house there, or, you know, whatever. You know, the kids are usually in the backyard, you know, playing or doing whatever, and this is just kind of like, you know, my favorite spot right here. But I don't know why. I just started sitting here one day, and it seems like this is where I'm at, you know, whenever I smoke 80% of the time. Now, of course, I do like to sit in my recliner and smoke, you know, and read and all that, but I don't do that very often. Usually whenever I have the house to myself, or the kids are in bed and everything like that, I might open the window behind me there and smoke while I'm reading. But what I'd really like, you know, is to set me up a pipe nook, kind of like your little setup that you got where you do your videos. Something like that would be just about perfect. You know, that way I'm kind of secluded, it's nice and quiet, and, you know, I can have some time to think, or to read a couple of chapters, or, you know, just sit and enjoy and try out a new tobacco. But anyway, I think that's all I got for this one. I know it's run kind of long, so I appreciate it, you know, if you stuck around to the end here. But I want to say congratulations again on your 100 subs. I mean, you definitely deserve them, man. I mean, your channel is great, and I really enjoy watching it. But, you know, it won't take you too much longer, and you'll be at 200 subs. So, I'm looking forward to that. But, anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get off here before we run it over 20 minutes. So, with that, I'm going to say pleasant smokes, everybody. Take care, and we will talk to y'all later.